Hey, welcome to the We're Better Together podcast. I'm Ian Stevenson.
And I'm Daniel Arduña. We come from different backgrounds, but we're working together. So our goal is to help you navigate being better together in the various sectors of your life by bringing you a once-a-month interview and some stimulating thoughts on the weeks in between.
We hope this podcast keeps you tracking on building something better together, whether it's your marriage, your family, your workplace. We want to serve you. So here's today's episode.
Brothers and sisters, we are excited to dig into some content today. And Ian and those listening, working hard to create unity happens in various domains. One of those domains is nonprofit organizations. It takes a lot of planning of logistics and people to do what nonprofits do. And there's a lot of unity that's needed to be built to really create and chase after the vision of nonprofits. And within that domain, there's many heroes. And today we have the opportunity to interview one of those heroes. So Ian, would you introduce who it is that we're going to be interviewing to our listeners today?
Yes, sir. I'm super excited to introduce to you guys Shannon Santos, who leads a nonprofit right here in our city of Costa Mesa called the Someone Cares Soup Kitchen. And you'll get to hear some of her story from her herself. But she's a little bit of a legend in our city because she's following the footsteps of her grandmother, who actually started the Someone Cares Soup Kitchen. And her family have been impacting people who are living with a lot of food insecurity for years and years now. So this is someone who's really been around the block in this whole space of pulling people together to work together for a common cause. So we're excited. I want you guys to welcome with us Shannon Santos to our podcast. So Shannon, welcome. We're glad you're here.
So glad to be here. Thank you. I feel honored to have been asked and appreciate appreciate the time that we get to share and talk. And so thank you.
Well, can you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself?
So as you said, my grandmother, Merle Hadelberg, started the soup kitchen 1986 here in Costa Mesa. And she set up at the time at Ray School, which wasn't being used. And so she was serving meals out of there. Started very small. And from there went from different churches always loving the work that she was doing. And finally, after 10 years, had saved enough money to find a permanent home, which is our home here on 19th Street on the west side of Costa Mesa. And first day, she started serving meals. She only served about 30 people. Today, we're, serving hundreds of thousands of meals annually, and to a community that our neighbors, our friends, and our supporters. So I been with the organization for 20 years, and I never ceases to amaze me how amazing the organization is, but just the work that is being put out. We're a smaller organization, but we're a small but mighty organization, and what we do is incredible, and we wouldn't honestly be able to do it without people coming in, and it's the hands that give us a help, and
all different kinds of people, right? You have people coming in there from so many different backgrounds, as volunteers, but also clients, people that are being served, right?
It's such a wide range from volunteers, from our youth volunteers coming in and getting community service for high school graduation requirements, or going for presidential awards for to get into college. We have an amazing group, about a dozen youth volunteers from Newport Harbor High School right now through the AVID program, and they're out here every weekend assisting us with a newly established food distribution program. And the commitment that these youths are making to the organization it's just incredible. And then we have our retirees, that they make that commitment to be here, rain or shine, and they're going to be here serving up some soup. So
I was up there just earlier today, and even as I was walking through the back as people were preparing and getting stuff done outside, and then into the kitchen. It so impresses me, the diversity and the variety of people that are in there working together. It's incredible.
I mean, elbow to elbow, and we'll have. I mean, it's amazing. It really is, and you get to know so many people. Uh, coming in the back door and seeing like, okay, what am I going to be doing? Because it's a fast paced environment. We have a lot of work, a lot of cooking, prepping, sorting to do in a very quick period of time.
Mhm.
But to be able to do it next to someone there that has that like mindedness, that is there for for the greater good. Thinking uh, beyond what their needs are and thinking of the greater good for everyone. And so that like-mindedness is definitely a ribbon that is shared throughout our volunteers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Shan, you said, I gathered in there hundreds of thousands that you serve and see come through the soup kitchen each year.
Right.
And in that, we're getting a little bit into it, but could you help our viewers and listeners maybe have even a better idea what kind of variety of types of people do you see come through that are in need, or that you serve? What are the variety of types of people that come?
Yeah, it's 100% across the board from infants to 90-year-olds. So we have mamas carrying their babies in, and we have a senior citizen that's coming in. For instance, that's taking the bus up from Huntington Beach to have a hot meal, but it's part of what they do. It gets them outside, it gets them active. So there's a lot of people think that it's just homeless people that come to a soup kitchen, but that's clearly not the case.
Yeah.
Um, it's a lot of social environment. Pre-pandemic, of course, we sat down and we specifically designed the tables because we wanted it to be so people could engage with each other and do that family style of seating.
Hmm.
And so uh, things are different now with COVID, and we're doing a to-go style of service. But the amount of meals that we're serving certainly hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So, um,
So how do you pull this off, Shannon? How many staff? How many volunteers each year? Where do they come from? How different really are they all? I want our audience to get a taste of how you're pulling people together, how you're getting them to work together around this thing. But give us an idea. How many staff? How many volunteers? Where do they come from?
so staff wise, we have a small staff of 8 people. And so we have a weekend staff because we're serving a hot meal on Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 11. And then during the week, we have a driver that goes around and procures all of our food donations. And then we have a chef, an assistant in the kitchen, myself, and I have a new gal in the office. And we also have a person that helps in the dining room and helping with both guest and volunteer needs. So, it's small staff, and the biggest sort of part of the muscle of the organization is our volunteers, and through volunteerism. Without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And so we have volunteers that are coming in because they've made that commitment. Surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, we have volunteers that have been with us, double digits, 20 plus
Wow.
years.
Wow.
So, and that commitment is incredible. So we have a lot of retirees that are working right next to a 15-year-old, or it could be a retiree working right next to someone that's just wants to get out of the house. They might not be working. It could be that chef that might be out of a job that wants to come in and own their skills and comes in and volunteers in the kitchen. So it's such a vast variety of the reasons why. But
How many volunteers would you say you have like a year? Like
about 108,000.
Whew.
108,000 volunteers. Wow,
Mhm.
that is
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing, and I think part of honestly what makes the soup kitchen such a comfortable and great place to work is because often, we have Monday through Friday, we have that first shift, that 9 to 12, and
Yeah.
it's moving, and it's got a great energy and a great vibe, and they're cooking and they're prepping, they're peeling 50 pounds of potatoes, and then second, they're going in and preparing that food, and then they get to see the fruits of their labor immediately, so,
Very
that,
rewarding, huh?
yeah, that but it's instant gratification. They get to see the results of the fruits of
Yeah.
the labor.
And so you've got some of these long-term folks that have been there double digits, and then you've probably got a lot of people who come and maybe just do it once and check it out, and
First time,
yeah,
a perfect example. Tawny from the Crossing reached out and had a gal that for the past year had wanted to come out and come and do some volunteer work, and so Tawny put us together. She came out yesterday and fell in love with the place. And
hmm,
so she'll be back, and she wants to be an every Wednesday volunteer. But that's just a beautiful statement,
yeah,
uh, of someone coming in, rolling up their sleeves, wanting to do something, getting out there and kind of out of maybe their comfort zone or something that they're not familiar with, and getting in and doing it and seeing and being part of something big.
yeah,
And so, and
Absolutely.
that's what I always say, if people could just come in, roll their sleeves up, they're going to be hooked. It's kind of because the work is so rewarding.
yeah,
People get to see that, in serving the guests, so they're in there cooking and then they're serving the folks and they're seeing the true need
yeah,
of what that hard work goes to. And that's such an amazing reward.
yeah,
So,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, Shannon, you said 108,000 volunteers, and you can see the reaction that Ian and I have to that. So, to help our audience understand 108,000 volunteers, retirees, teenagers, young adults, this full variety, what have you
corporate
found? Oh,
people.
corporate people, yes. What have you found to be important when it comes to getting this variety of people together for the common good? Like, how do you gather these variety of people together to serve in this way?
I always call it the magic of the soup kitchen, but I mean, it's God. It's this is God's house and this is God's church, and that's honestly how it comes together.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's the miracles of the soup kitchen, and it's communication. It's being a part of something bigger and sustainable, and it's there's love and there's grace and it's hard work, and it's very fulfilling.
Do you see people as they serve next to each other? Is there opportunities for them to talk and connect? Like, do
Absolutely.
you see that happening and see that being a way that people kind of get together and get on board because they're doing
Absolutely.
something together?
Absolutely. And that engagement, for like Lori cooking. Lori's our chef, but Lori cooking in the kitchen and doing these, showing the kids how to make, stir fry, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go home and show our parents how to, we made stir fry today." But it's that, that engaging and being able to really kind of identify and get to know that volunteer and their specific talent and why they're here, and it's all about really building relationships and finding out who they are and utilizing them and also letting them kind of feel their way through it and kind of see where they're comfortable. It's so important, but communication and letting them know the value of the work that they're doing
Hmm.
is just amazing.
Hmm.
yeah. Like there's so many nuggets in what you just said that is relevant to anybody who's trying to create unity in whatever setting. I heard you say God's important. There's like this spiritual side to it. I heard you say communication's important. I
Hmm.
heard you say that it's important to think about the other, like to look at what their gifts and their abilities are and try to um, appreciate those and get them in using those. Like those kinds of things help bring people together, right? I mean, I heard all that in what you just said. Am I hitting it right?
You're hitting it right on the head. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
But what would you say is the biggest challenge
Hmm.
to getting people to work together? Like, so you've been doing this, you've got 108,000 volunteers that come through there. You've got this common focus of helping people who are experiencing food insecurity, and you're doing it. But there's got to be like some challenges in the middle of it. What's the biggest challenge you'd say?
Through volunteering, maybe personalities, because we're you know we're dealing with so many different personalities of who are coming in, and some people just it's personalities, you know. Some people might be a little more rigid. Is that a good word? I don't know. So just personalities. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And get people getting comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I would say that that would be the biggest things. And we have a lot of rules. To be perfectly honest, we have a lot of rules, but we have a lot of rules for really good reasons. Because safety is first and foremost, and we want this to be a good environment for everybody across the board. So. So some might question, all the rules, but
Yeah,
I think,
sure.
you
Yeah.
know, I don't think that they're bad problems to have or big challenges to have, because they're easy to walk through and manage.
There are things that you can process through if you're willing, right? Like,
Absolutely, anything is possible. And during I found what was so amazing is that through this whole pandemic, pre-pandemic, I mean, on Saturdays, we were booked up for 4 months for people coming out, 4, 5, 6 months at times, on people, booking groups. During the weekdays, we have so many corporate volunteers that would be coming out, and small groups, and then once the pandemic hit, uh, people just calling and canceling the reservation.
to
And
volunteer, you mean, right?
what's that?
They're a reservation to volunteer.
Right. Yeah, because we ask groups of 5 or more to book in advance. So
Okay.
we always want to make sure that we have enough work for the volunteers to do, because there's nothing worse than a volunteer, not having enough to do. So we always want to keep them engaged for sure. So we had a bevy of volunteers, and then pandemic hit, and we're canceling the group reservation or booking. And what was so surprising is, though, that during this time, even though we had so many that were dropping off due to safety and concerns, and we stepped back and created a pandemic protocol because we wanted to be safety was first and foremost thing that we wanted to make sure that everyone, from guests to volunteers to staff, were all going to be safe during this time. And as a result, though, we found that we were attracting new volunteers, like that were coming. I mean, it was amazing that during this time of a lot of fear and uncertainty, that people were willing to come out and give a hand in these uncertain times.
At the end of the day, people want to work together on something that makes a difference, don't they? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's one of the things you get to carry, and one of
Hmm.
the things that draws people together is you're doing something that
Hmm.
is making a difference practically in people's lives, and so people want to come together around something like that.
Right.
And you get to be one of the people in our world that carries something like that that draws people together. It's a great privilege, isn't it?
It's an honor, and I'm just so
Mm.
grateful for the opportunity to work in the community.
Well, let me
Uh,
tell you, I know hundreds of people that are grateful for you.
it's a
Grateful for
team.
you.
It's a but we have an amazing team of staff and volunteers that truly, from my heart, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them.
Mm.
Uh, I it's just it's an amazing it's amazing, really it is. And I don't I say it often, but it is. And I think people, just coming in, and they have extra bags, for uh, to package up our to-go boxes,
Mhm.
but they can see, they bring them in, they're immediately being used, and I think people value that, and
Yeah,
I think people want to see that immediate need being met. So, um,
so good, Shannon.
Shannon, I think Ian and I can hear your heart for others, your heart for people that volunteer for you and giving a lot of credit in those places. But there's clearly a lot of work that you have to do in helping to lead this out. And within that, I mean, you said 20 years, I think you said that you've been a part of this. And so just for you and all the work that you've put in, I mean, can you help our audience understand, maybe others that lead that are listening, but I see in you a whole bunch of joy. There's joy in your smile. There's joy in your eyes. There's joy in your face. Where do you draw that joy from, and how have you been able to stay at this for so long? Like, how are you able to do all of this?
I love the work I do.
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate. I am so fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do something. It's, you hear that saying, isn't it amazing to be able to get up and do something that you love to do and that you're passionate? I'm so fortunate to still be passionate about the work I do. And, and I have such great respect for the city and the community that I'm able to serve in. And I'm so happy to be part of a team that exemplifies dedication and loyalty and love and grace. And so I'm the lucky one.
Your answer to how you stay in so long is that it's gratitude. You have to remain grateful. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's gold.
What an encouragement to anyone listening that can think about seeing a vision 20 years later. And I think so often we might feel like, how can I still be passionate about something like 20 years later? Is it going to get so old? Or I face so many challenges and celebrations along the way. I think what an encouragement for people listening, though, to hear from someone that's been doing this for 20 years and says, I'm still passionate about this. I still love what I do. And you can see that all over your body, just the joy that comes out within that. I think that's encouraging for me. I know that can be encouraging for our audience as well and people that are listening.
Yeah, you bet it is. That's awesome. So Shannon, you are married, you have a family, you run this soup kitchen. Before we wrap this up, we want to give you an opportunity. What's one thing that you'd want to make sure everyone out there knows if they're going to work better with others together in their marriage, their family, their work, their team, their nonprofit, their community? What is one nugget you can leave our audience with? The big one. What's the one big one on this whole idea of working together?
I guess it all comes down to unity and unity and grace, because I think we have grace in the unity that we do. So I think that would be it for me.
Grace is that whole like giving people space thing, right? Like everyone's not going to be perfect. You got to give them grace. You gotta forgive. You gotta let things go. If you don't have that, you won't have much unity, will you?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
And I think that unity can happen when people are willing to let go of themselves. And some of what you were saying, Shannon, like we're coming together for something that's bigger than myself. And if I can realize that and maybe let go of the way that I do things in my life to do things in the way that the vision of Someone Cares Soup Kitchen or anything else does, now I can help create some unity in that fashion as well. Shannon, we would also love to give the opportunity. I mean, people are listening to this and saying, wow, I'm hearing about this amazing place that is doing such wonderful things in this community. So could you share for our viewers and listeners as well, how can people get a hold of you or get involved with Someone Cares Soup Kitchen? And I've also heard within this that with that variety of people, I've heard various ages that have been involved. So could you also share what kind of ages can get involved in what you're doing and how can they get connected?
So we would love for you, if you're over the age of 15, and we don't have, you just have to be a minimum of 15 and over. There is no other age requirement, but we would love for you to come in and be a part of what we do. It is amazing, and I can guarantee you will absolutely love the work that we do. and those we serve. And it's getting out of your comfort zone, and we have opportunities Monday through Friday. We have a 9 to 12 or 12 to 4 shift, or 9 to 4, and then on Saturday and Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 12. So we have 7 days a week we're doing this. We'd love your partnership. It's amazing. When you want to try to get a hold of us, get a hold of Elizabeth. Call Elizabeth here at the Soup Kitchen, 949-548-8861. Go to our website, someonecareskitchen.org, and we look forward to communicating and building that relationship with you, and sharing the experience that is Someone Cares Soup Kitchen.
So good. Hey, everyone out there, you could be a part of this 108,000 people a year that roll through here with the opportunity to serve and be able to have conversations with people from all different kinds of walks of life that you get to serve alongside. It's such a great thing. Please go check out their website. As you can see across the bottom of the screen right now, go check it out if you are interested in any way to be a part of this.
Thank you.
Shannon, thank you so much for being a part of this with us today. What a treat to have you on. And I know that someone out there is going to mine some nuggets from all that you share that's going to help them. So thank you for all you're doing. And
thank you. You know, the Crossing is such a special place in my heart. So, and you
that's
know
where
that.
Shannon and I first met, for those of
Yeah.
you that may not know that. So,
Yeah.
super cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My family being baptized there, and my grandmother and you officiating at my grandmother's service. So, thank you, Ian, for being a friend, and someone I consider on the top of my list. So thank you. And Daniel, thank you. I appreciate your time and investment in doing all you do. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate
It's beautiful. This is beautiful.
it.
All right, Shannon, we'll let you go now, and you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right, Daniel, that was awesome, wasn't it?
That was wonderful.
She's an incredible woman, and I just love her smile and the joy that she brings.
So full of joy. That's
You
it.
can feel it
Immediately, you can see it.
right through the screen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the nuggets you got from that?
I think one of the nuggets that really stuck out to me is the opportunity that they give for varieties of people to come alongside each other, and the conversations that can happen within that. A retiree talking to a 15-year-old, a 15-year-old talking with the chef and learning even how to cook like that. I don't know. There's something just about that multi-generational and multicultural, multi-walk of life aspect that just really stuck out to me in what she was sharing, and how wonderful of an opportunity that is to experience that and be a part of that while serving. Like those two things together are amazing. Either of those things individually would be great, but to see those two together is so wonderful. That was definitely something big that stuck out to me.
Yeah, there are kind of two things for me I just want to leave our audience with too. Is first of all, it's like you just said, it's that focus. Having a focus area, it pulls people together. And when that focus is something that makes a difference for other people, it's even stronger. Like 108,000 that's amazing. And then the final thing she said really hit me too, that I think is so critical. If there's going to be working together, if there's going to be unity, and it's grace.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to give grace, people. You've got to give grace to your spouse. You got to give grace to your family. You got to give grace to people you work with. So if you don't know about grace, I would encourage you to learn about grace, because I'm sure you've experienced it at some level. And so I hope that you guys heard that in there. I'm sure there's things Daniel and I didn't mention that some of you heard, but man, what a great time. And we just want to let all of you guys know, hey, we're going to drop content every Monday. Most Mondays, it's just a 10-minute kind of pump you up, for creating unity and working together. And then once a month, we're going to do an interview like this with someone about what unity looks like in their context, their sector that they're working in. So we hope you'll keep turning in to the We're Better Together podcast, and that it'll encourage you to get better together in whatever area you're working on it, because we all need it.
That's right. We just want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us today. We are excited to see where this goes, where this podcast goes, and the people that come through here and what they share and how that impacts anyone that chooses to listen or watch. And so we thank you so much for joining us within here. May we be better together. We'll see y'all soon.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. If there's anything you heard today that was helpful to you, that you think might be helpful to somebody else,
please like, subscribe, and share this podcast so we can help others be better together as well.